Hey, good afternoon. It's Dwayne Richards, the host of Comm Cafe. This is the place for small business owners, entrepreneurs. We talk about mindset, personal development, professional development. And today I have a guest, someone I've known for a good chunk of time. It's Roman Bodnarchuk. He is the founder of N5R. And yeah, we've known each other for at least 2, 3, 4 years. I'm not sure. Roman has a fantastic story. He is the marketing man. He's written books. He's had amazing clients, a wealth of knowledge in the real estate market. But it's not just real estate. It's marketing. And sometimes it's not your market, it's your marketing. I think he's written a book about that. But hey, welcome to Comm Cafe.
Thank you very much, Wayne. Great to see you again.
All right. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about marketing. So not just for startups, not for someone just getting started, but if they're an existing business, entrepreneurial, real estate, anything, you have some great tips on marketing that cross over the different industries, different sectors, big business, small business. A lot of the stuff is pretty generic. I say it's common sense, but sometimes not everyone has common sense, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. 20 years ago, my odyssey with the internet marketing started with a band called the Backstreet Boys, and we built $1 billion brand just using online marketing. So before social media, we used news groups and chat groups, and we did that for free. And we did another band called NSYNC, and a bunch you never heard of. But I've been obsessed for 20 years on how to leverage technology, specifically the internet, to create billions of dollars of revenue. And what I could say today, it's easier than it's ever been. So to give you a real life example, let's say you have a small business, you have a number of customers, a number of prospects. There's never been an easier time to market to them. So I give you an example, what I'm doing right now in a new startup that I'm creating, or advice I give to one of my clients. So all of us have a database, whether it's a bunch of business cards in a drawer, or it's a bunch of emails, but we all have a database. And what we tend to not do is do a good job marketing to our database. So typically in the olden days, you would think about, I might do a mailing to my database. Well, people don't really do that much anymore. Today they think, well, I'm going to email my database. But the problem with emails is, a third of them never get open, never get read. They go to spam filters. So this is kind of the traditional way. But there's a much more effective way. And you could start with as many as 100 names. Like you don't need 10,000 names to make this strategy work. But you could upload your database, into LinkedIn, into Facebook, into Google. And what happens is you can say, okay, Facebook, I only want you to run this little ad against my own audience. So what Facebook does is just with their email addresses, they'll match people. And they have a pretty high success rate. We've got 2 billion people using Facebook every day, for example. So let's say I give Facebook 100 names. They're going to match about 70% of my people. So now those 70 people that I already have some kind of relationship with, or 70 people that know me, now they start seeing my ads. So then my ad on Facebook could be as simple as an ad where it goes to a landing page and maybe there's some kind of offer. Here's my newsletter, here's my book, here's my video, whatever it is, and they can register. What I love about the Facebook landing page, it's already pre-populated. See, Facebook already knows your first name, your last name, already knows all about you. So the whole form is already pre-populated. So all the person has to hit is the submit button, and boom, that lead goes to you. And then you can re-engage with someone that maybe already knew you, or you met at a trade show years ago, but you forgot about them. And what I love about Facebook ads as an example, this works with Google as well, works with LinkedIn, is I only pay on success. So imagine I went to the Globe and Mail or the Toronto Star and said, look, I want you to run this ad, but I'm only going to pay you if it works. Well, that doesn't work in traditional media. So with Facebook and Google, I only pay if that person clicks on my ad. And because I predetermine the audience, I say, look, Facebook, these 100 people, they're important to me. I only want you to run these ads to these 100 people, and I'm going to give you 25 cents or 20 cents if one of those people click. So that's my advice to anyone either starting a business, because we all have a database. Maybe it's your wedding list. So people who attended your wedding, or whatever your list is. We all have a database, but it's a great way to get moving, and it's the most efficient form of marketing that I think we've ever seen.
All right. I knew that you could do that, but I didn't think of it that way, that you're not wasting money putting up ads into a cold market. and having, 12-year-olds click on your ad and costing you 20 cents. You're actually you're sending specifically, I only want that ad to show up with these X number of people.
And you can make it more. Let's pretend you have a database of 1,000 people. Okay, so you go to Facebook and say, here's my 1,000 names, and let's say Facebook now maybe matches only 50% of them. So they have Facebook says, okay, we know these 500, but I want to add some criteria. But I only want to market to people. Maybe I have a very local business. Maybe I'm doing a sign company, but I only want to advertise to people in GTA or in Markham or in Mississauga. So Facebook says, okay, we have 100 of those people. Okay, great. So I only want to pay, and they have to be at least age 30. I want them 30 to 65. And maybe they finish high school. So then Facebook says, okay, we have 97 of those people. Okay, great. So I want to run an ad to those 97 people. So it's incredibly efficient. And then you tell Facebook how much you're willing to pay. I'm willing to pay you 15 cents if they click, or 25 cents. So it's the most efficient model. Now, it gets even better. So that's step one. Now I can tell you, you ready for the advanced part?
Yeah, I like that part. So I got that part down.
This is easy. So the next part is your customers and people that you do business with, their friends are exactly like them, like exactly. Your 5 friends are exactly like you from an income, net worth, it's within a few $1,000s. So what if you could go to Facebook and say, okay, see, this is like my 100 customers or 100 people I've done business with. I want you to market to their 4 or 5 best friends. Well, guess what? Facebook knows who their 4 or 5 best friends are. They're just like them. So that's called a lookalike campaign. So you say, okay, Facebook, here's my 100 customers or my 100 ideal prospects. I don't want you just to market to them. I want you to go after their 4 or 5 best friends. And guess what Facebook does? They start running ads against them. So here's what happens in real life. So now you're having coffee with your friend and they mention, oh, have you heard of N5R? Yeah, I've heard of N5R. Well, of course, because all of their 5 friends keep seeing the N5R ads like the last month. So you become a topic of conversation. So it's really, really powerful. And I find that most businesses, what they do when they talk about marketing, they're trying to find strangers. They're trying to convert someone that doesn't know who they are, can't spell their name, to convert to a customer. The odds of that happening, it's incredibly hard, incredibly expensive. Just to put this in perspective, it takes 17 touch points to get someone to be a customer, 17 times. So the reason you see McDonald's advertising nonstop, or Pepsi, or Pizza Hut, or anybody, because they have to keep hitting you over and over and over and over again. Well, if you're a small business, you really can't afford to do that. But you can if it's hyper-targeted and you only pay on success. So again, if it's a finite group of people, whether it's 100 or 1,000 people, and you're only paying if they convert. See, what I love about this, Dwayne, is if your ad sucks, like let's say your creative's awful, that's okay, because they keep seeing it anyway. Because you're not paying Google on impressions. You're not paying LinkedIn on impression. You're only paying on success. So even if you're the worst ad copywriter in history, if you've got the ugliest ad ever, it's still going to help you because thousands of people are going to see your ad all the time. Now, if you're really good, you have a higher conversion. So it's a no-lose proposition. So I think any business that's complaining about their revenue, complaining about not having prospects is crazy, because we live in an age where you can really micro-target your market and you only pay on success.
That's fantastic. Because again, lots of people everyone's on Facebook. And again, it's a way to use Facebook without worrying about, for example, like you said, if I have a local business, now I start running ads, I run the risk that all of a sudden someone in Vancouver clicks on my ad and I can't service them in Vancouver.
Right.
So it's really targeting it.
And Facebook is an amazing platform, but we do spend a lot of time and energy wasting time posting things to our followers. And the stats are 19% of the people in our own network actually see our posts, because people check Facebook like once a day, for example. And if I check at 8 o'clock at night and you posted something 8 in the morning, the odds of me finding it is very little. There's so much noise. So unless you're running an ad, and again, an ad could be as you could start ads at $20 or $25. Like they don't have to be very expensive campaigns, but if you're not running ads, they're not going to see you. So, people have to value their time. And people are saying, well, I'm spending 2 or 3 hours a day posting content to Facebook to my audience. Well, that's good. Let's say your time is worth $25 an hour. So you're spending $75 a day on that. And what are you getting? What I would argue is if you spend $20 on a Facebook ad, you'd blow the barn door off in terms of your response. So again, putting time value on your time and maybe trying these Google ads or Facebook ads is a great strategy, at least to try. Again, you're marketing to people who already know you, you have some relationship with. It's 80% higher conversion than a stranger doesn't know you. And the sales cycle is so much shorter. I found that people that don't like me, Dwayne, it's hard to believe there's some people who don't like me, but it's easier for me to get a customer that doesn't like me than someone that doesn't know me. So even people that don't like you are more likely to buy from you than a stranger. So again, I'm not saying everyone in your database is going to love you, but you'll be surprised that it's not necessarily who they are, but it's who they know. Most of my customers have come from people not from my Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn audience. It's their friend. They're referring me. So it's that 1 degree separation. So I'm a big believer in online ads. I've been that way for 20 years, but it's never been easier. Facebook is the world's greatest CRM, and it's such a powerful tool. And Facebook ads are something anyone can do. Google ads are complicated. You got to spend some time learning it. I don't recommend it as a first time going out, but Facebook ads are really simple. Anyone could figure it out. And if you can't, if you know a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, they'll help you. They can get you through it.
And the fantastic part about it, Roman, is that you can actually set your budget. You can set your amount to say, okay, I want X dollars per day, or you can really tighten it up so that in case you didn't quite do it right, just make sure you put a cap on it. So in case it's really successful, you don't want to blow up your credit card.
Absolutely no. You could put like a $25 limit on a day, or your whole exposure could be $50. Yeah. So we spend that on breakfast. We spend that on dinner. I'm in Niagara Falls. So I'm going to the IHOP, and I'm thinking, oh, it's IHOP in Niagara Falls. Well, it's $25 for a breakfast at IHOP in Niagara Falls because you got the view. So for the price of breakfast, you can run your first online campaign.
Yeah. And that's where we have, I'm not sure if people see, people don't necessarily see on the audio, but if they're watching the video, they see this gorgeous view. I see the falls, the Niagara Falls in the background there. So, okay. So that's some fantastic, couple quick, easy things that people can do with Facebook. So why don't you share a little bit, because we talked a little bit before we hit the record button, on maybe like one of the things that you're up to. Because I know like you've done a lot of stuff when I was working with you. We were doing real estate, and you were up in Muskoka, and a lot of online marketing for the real estate guys. But it's kind of your background is real estate, but what's got you out of bed this morning?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate. My first property I bought when I was 14 years old. I had to convince my mom and my dad, my uncle, and his wife, my aunt, to purchase a place with me when I was 14. And it was a dilapidated kind of duplex in Toronto. And we were able to purchase that. I think it was $82,000. And then we renovated the basement. Then I learned about something called refinancing. So we went to the bank and said, well, now it's worth this because it's a triplex. And they gave us, within 6 months, they gave us a lot more money. And then I was able to buy the one next door. So I've done this over 100 times, since I was 14. I'm 48 now. So I've been in love with real estate my whole life. And I think it's the greatest vehicle for wealth creation. And we live in a great country where no matter if you bought an ugly house, good area, bad area, everything's gone up on average, 5% a year, for the last 50 years. So I'm a big believer in real estate. So what happened to me was really incredible. About a month ago, I read this article in the Financial Post. And I'm a little bit old school, Dwayne. I still read the newspaper. And so I'm reading it on Sunday. And it was the Saturday paper, the Saturday Post, National Post. And it was an article about a town called Smooth Rock Falls. And they talked about how the town had hit some hard times. Abitibi owned most of the town. And they closed their mill about 6 years ago, and they lost 40% of the population because everyone worked for this one company. So the town was trying to get innovative, and they're like, well, what are we going to do to reinvigorate the small town in Ontario? It's I flew to it. It's about an hour. You fly to Timmins, about an hour flight, and it's about an hour outside Timmins. If you drove, it's about 7-8 hours from Toronto. So it's North Ontario. So I'm reading about this town, and the town says, we want to reinvigorate our town, so we're going to offer some incredible incentives, like crazy incentives, like we'll give you 50% loaned if you build a house here, 90% back if you buy a lot, like amazing incentives. So as somebody that's been obsessed with real estate my whole life, I'm like, this is too good to be true. So that day I booked my flight on Porter Airlines. I go down there. I'm first in that morning, and I got to meet the mayor of Smooth Rock Falls. And I said, what's going on here? He goes, well, we've got about 15 lots here, and we want developers to come and develop them. And I said, okay, well, let me purchase them. So I bought the lots. and we're going to build some affordable housing. And the reason I'm so excited about this, Dwayne, is, I live in Toronto, and I know you do too, and it's insanely expensive to live. And unless you have a tremendous income, a tremendous six-figure income, it's very hard to live in Toronto. And if you think about what it's going to be like to retire in a city like Toronto, it's really expensive and it's stressful. And I don't envy any millennial, any young person starting in their career when the average rent in Toronto is $2,200 for a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, how can you ever save money when 100% of your income is going to housing? So we live in a time today where people can work from anywhere. Like, I'm in Niagara Falls in a hotel right now. You're working from home today, and we could work anywhere. That's the real world. So I look at Smooth Rock Falls, this beautiful town with a 60-person hospital, with 2 schools, a French school and English school, with a golf course and bowling alley and all this recreation. And it's a beautiful little town. And I think, wow, you could actually you could buy a house there for $100,000. You could have the nicest house in town for $200,000. People could live there debt free. Like, they could have a great life. So whether it's a young family starting off or somebody retiring, what a magical place to live in Ontario, with the Ontario, greatest healthcare system in the world. And if you want to go to Toronto, like, you get on the Porter flight, an hour later, you're back in Toronto. So I got excited about that because I've done work now in 15 countries. And yeah, I can show you where you can buy a lot in Costa Rica, but you're in the middle of a jungle and you'll never have electricity going to it. You'll never have real running water. You're going to have a septic system. You're never going to have natural gas. I'm talking about city lots, like in a city where you walk to everything, where you can own a home for $100,000, when you want to live in. So I'm really excited about that project, and that's what I'm working on. So we're building the homes made of steel. And the reason this is important, and again, I've spent 20 years now in real estate in terms of development, and what I found is most of the homes that they build are crap. And I hate to say it, but if you actually see the quality of the houses they built, these are not sustainable. Like, you think about how in Europe or in Egypt, they could build things that last thousands of years, but yet in Toronto, we can't build something that's going to last 50 years. So it's the quality of our construction. But when you build with things like steel, it lasts a generation. So we're building steel homes that are affordable, they're portable, and they're expandable. So maybe you're a young family, you only need 600 feet right now or 700 square feet. But as you expand, you might want to, you got kids, you want to grow, bigger kids, you can double that size. So we're creating a very affordable container-based home that is expandable, and you can take it around the world. So 2 years from now, you want to move to Mexico, you can take your home with you. 5 years from now, you get a place in Muskoka, you want to move your home, you can do it. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm really excited about.
That's fantastic. And like I said, it's not something you've just, the industry, the market, and it's not just the traditional piece that it's you're always forward thinking. You're always looking to say, okay, what's a better way to do it? And
well, I think about the pain that we all go through, and the pain of the cost of living is extraordinary, and the stress that we live in, and the traffic and the congestion. And I think that people, if they have an alternative now of an affordable place that's safe, that you never have to lock your door, you never have to lock your car doors, where kids can roam around like we used to when we were kids, a safe place like that, those places do exist. But most of us now have jobs or a way to earn income where we're not tied to sit in an office all day long. We have some freedom. And maybe it's not all the time, but think about like a teacher or people have professions that for months a year, they can go wherever they want. So I'm thinking about new ways of again, I'm a big believer in real estate, big believer in home ownership. But there's a better way, and I do believe the steel construction homes that are portable, that are expandable, that are this is the future of housing. So that's what I'm working on today.
All right, that's super exciting. So, and how can, if someone's curious to know a little bit more, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so our website is n5r.com, and we've been around for guys, we're going on to 20 years now. We have a lot of amazing free tools on our website. So we've got 3 books that we've written. One's called It's Not the Market, It's Your Marketing. It tells you like step by step how we've helped 5 startups go from 0 to $1 billion. So not many companies have helped startups go from 0 to $1 billion in 4 different industries. We've done that. We have a book about marketing. So there's just a book that tells you all this online marketing stuff, step by step. It's all free. We've got hundreds of videos on our website. So that's a good step. So yeah, n5r.com is a great way. And my email is just roman@n5r.com.
All right. I want to thank you for being on today, because again, on the front end, we shared some really quick tips on Facebook on how to get started with the price of what people spend on breakfast or what people spend at Starbucks on a daily basis. Even for $5. For $5 a day, the price of a Starbucks, you can run a nice little Facebook ad campaign and get off of Facebook, and then use the rest of the time to go and actually meet the customers.
That's right.
Awesome. I like that. And then affordable housing in Ontario. Who knew?
It's possible.
All right. I want to thank you for being on with me today. It was a pleasure to get caught up on some of the things that are going on. And, I tell people, when I meet people, I tell them part of your story. And now they actually got to hear it and see from the man himself, the guy who helped, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC get started in the day. And if people want, pick up that, go to the site and get I think it's the $1 Million Minute or something, I think is the book, right?
The book is called $1 Million Minute. Yeah.
You talk about those strategies that maybe may not quite work exactly like they did today, but it's still interesting because now we have even better technology. So now you have things like Instagram, you have Facebook, you have a way to do that immediate engagement.
Yeah.
It's the same principles.
You're right.
Awesome.
Have an amazing weekend. Great to see you. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye-bye.